products constantly being placed throughout the series and his thanks in the credits right next to the Kickstarter backers gives Red Guy his dream, a TV show. In this interpretation, the fourth wall breaks are literal. They're all performers on a children's television show directed by Red Guy, but Roy's the money man, and so his influence starts creeping in, even pushing aside Red Guy's ideas entirely.
There's always time for a song.
Who's that?
Wow, look!
I'm a computer.
Red Guy eventually moves off the production, leading to even more disturbing product placement and further corruption of Red Guy's creation. Duck gets canned, literally, and now we're left with nepotism at its finest, with Roy's own son being the sole star of the show. When Red Guy sees how far gone things have become, he pulls the plug on the show entirely, at least somehow, and starts anew. Maybe with a lower budget, but with what the show was truly meant to be. Roy's control, represented by Father's Day, is finally gone, and the show starts anew, with the first song Red Guy wrote for the series. To be fair, both thematically and plot-wise, there's a lot going for this theory, with even outside media seeming to suggest that Roy is some larger production figure. Craig's Big Day, a strange project created by Sloan and Pelling during the production of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, which features someone named Roy as the director. And especially when we start to understand that Sloan and Pelling specifically turned down larger investors when looking to make more episodes after the first one, opting to be Kickstarter funded so that they could keep creative control. So the elements about advertisers changing a creator's original vision seem to make sense, and I do really like the twist of the prologue section. However, I'm not 100% convinced by this interpretation of the plot, especially after the last episode. A few people threw their own hats into the ring, notably Inside Mind and Quentin Reviews, and their alternate theories, I think, hold some water as well. The crux of this theory is that Red Guy and his real world are just that, actually the real world. And Red Guy is the only one of the trio who's real. Duck and Yellow Guy are his imaginary friends, and this time loop element is Red Guy essentially not wanting to grow up. We're looking at someone clinging desperately to childhood, but it's just not the same. This dreams lesson is literally a dream that Red Guy wakes up from, and he can't seem to move on to the rest of the world, seeing it as dull, with Roy being this manifestation of his fears of adulthood. But eventually he's able to move on, and the new characters we see at the end are showing someone else's future journey in learning the same lesson. Someday we have to grow up. Inside Mind's video goes a bit more in-depth, but personally, while I think it's an interesting theory, I also think it leaves a lot on the table. This one is my favorite, and I first heard it proposed by Quentin Reviews. While I think the thematic elements of all these theories exist in the series, I think if we're just looking at the plot, however surreal and unconventional it is, I think this one is the one I find most compelling. I call it the Cult of Roy. In this interpretation, the episodes act as an allegory to a family. It comes back around to the cult-like teaching methods we've been talking about this whole time. There's an element narratively of organized misinformation in a family setting, like a cult run by Roy, the father figure. We see this in the real world all too often. Sheltered from the real world, a family or small community will form, usually following some older male figure like a father or self-proclaimed prophet, who both pushes the family away from the outside world and raises them in a sheltered and often abusive home, following the absurd and inaccurate teachings of the one in charge. In this reading of the story, the time loop works almost metaphorically. Time isn't really stuck, but the trio is cut off from the outside world, therefore the progress of the world outside. As well, the date being stuck on Father's Day represents the control Roy has over the household. He stops the characters from learning about the world on their own, instead forcing his views and flawed teachings onto them. Through this lens, we can see Red Guy's escape as someone finally moving out of the control of their abusive household into the real world. The fourth wall break in episode 4 is Red Guy seeing the constructed nature of Roy's reality and literally having his mind blown. The bubble he lived in popped. And that's what most of the fourth wall breaks represent. Someone seeing the sheltered and manipulated lives they've been living. And while he may have escaped, the trauma still haunts him, and the way he was raised affects how he interacts with, well, everything. And though he has tried to move on into a new life, he's still reaching out, trying to help his friends or other family members see the truth too. And that's why when Red Guy calls Duck, Duck sees himself out of the show. He's seeing the truth about his life. But Roy is wary now, taking Duck out of the picture and having Yellow Guy turn on him. But now that Yellow Guy's alone, and he sees what's happened to his friends, it's all starting to fall apart. The first domino has already fallen. The machine is more of a metaphor for Roy's control, and Red Guy forcefully removing Roy's influence. This final ending could be interpreted a couple different ways. It could be the cycle of trauma repeating itself again on a new generation, but personally, I like to think of it more as a hopeful ending. Like I said before, the first episode is the only one where Roy isn't present, and maybe this is allowing the characters to start anew. Alright, now that we have the entire original series broken down, analyzed, and theorized, we can move on to the TV series that was recently. What are you doing? Tell him, not me. Our cover's gonna get blown. So yeah, without further ado, let's talk about the TV series. So the last episode of the YouTube series was uploaded June 19th, 2016. After a bit of a hiatus, news came in the form of a teaser on the Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared channel. There was a new season of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared coming, this time on TV. The trailer was made entirely up of footage from a pilot of this new series, which would take place in a town called Clay Hill. Unfortunately, this version of the new series would eventually be scrapped, although most of the pilot has been leaked in clips that are floating around online. And so, the TV version of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared floated in limbo until June 19th, 2022, with the announcement of a full set of 6 new episodes on the British Channel 4, each being around 24 minutes long. And by September, the series would release, giving the long-awaited community over 2 hours of new content to dig into. So, let's get into it. We open on a spinning dollhouse, which is an important detail to keep in mind before moving into the intro song.
There's 3 of us, look closely you will see. There's 3 of us, just 3 of us, there's him and you and me.
We see the trio sitting around the kitchen table, realizing they have nothing to do that day. While Red Guy likes the opportunity to sit and do nothing, Yellow Guy and especially Duck are insistent that they do something, which is where we get our first teacher of the series, Briefcase, who begins the song all about the different jobs you can have.
You can be the guy who types so fast on computer. Clackety. Maybe I can be the one who plants a tree, cuts it down to make a shed.
And I'm an inventor, digital currency based around respect.
And I would really prefer to do as little as possible or nothing at all. Is that an option?
While Yellow Guy and Duck are enthused, Red Guy resists the idea of actually doing work. Eventually, the gang is transported to
Petersons and Sons and Friends, Bits and Parts Limited.
where the workers turn bits into parts in an endless cycle. Even Duck seems unexcited about this work opportunity.
Attention freaks, it's me. We're supposed to be starting our new job any moment. How do we get out of here away from you immediately?
When Red Guy goes to answer a ringing phone in the boss's office, the appliances in the office begin fitting him into an upper management position, despite his initial skepticism.
No, I can't help you. I don't work here. Okay, fine. Bye!
Meanwhile, Yellow Guy is fitting right in with the vending machine lasagna and cheeky humor of the workplace. Duck is still resistant to this line of work and would like to leave. He was looking more to be like a Bitcoin mogul and not a factory worker. Red Guy ends up firing Duck, who finds his way to a therapy elevator, where a song plays out, full of confusing therapeutic analogies and advice.
Try to imagine all your thoughts are squeezed inside a cube, and the cube is in a garden, but the garden isn't real.
Accidentally pushing a button, Duck summons the Care Hound, which ends up being a horrifying creature that swallows him and spits him back out in full uniform. Suddenly, Duck fits right in. However, Duck's assimilation doesn't last when he notices that somehow Yellow Guy and Red Guy have aged 40 years, and it is now Yellow Guy's retirement party. Feeling something's wrong, this happens.
This isn't what we're supposed to be doing!
You can be the one who gets the post from the postbox. You can be anything you want. Do.
A bit jarred by it all, Duck ends with one last question.
All that stuff that we just did. What was it all for?
Oh yes, I almost forgot. You've earned this.
And that is the first episode of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, the TV series. All right, when it comes to what this
Hey! Oh, you can be the one who gets the post from the postbox. You can be anything you want. Do.
a bit jarred by it all, Duck ends with one last question.
All that stuff that we just did. What was it all for?
Oh yes, I almost forgot. You've earned this.
And that is the first episode of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, the TV series. All right, when it comes to what this episode is really doing, this one is kind of a softball. Obviously, it's a critique of the modern workplace and industry in general, from general jabs at things like crypto or food provided at workplaces, or
People say it's not real food, but I quite like it and I think you will stop it.
workplace culture,
We're making bits and parts.
Although sometimes I feel a bit like the parts are making me.
That makes me laugh.
Yep, I'm a bit of a cheeky guy sometimes.
Yeah, I wish.
You and whose army?
or just general feelings of disdain for how jobs impact our lives.
Overwhelmed with stress. I'm not stressed. I'm unemployed.
I mean, we could go on forever. There are some more subtle things being done with the plot and themes here. For instance, from the beginning, Red Guy is insistent on wanting to do as little work as possible. So he's placed in upper management, where he essentially just has to fire people and have people say nice things about him.
You didn't wash your hands.
Yeah, so what? Somebody else will do it. Anyway, back to the grindstone, hey?
In contrast, weird asides like the urinal smoke break point out the difficult and dirty work that must be done to hold everything together. But the people in these lines of work, despite being some of the most essential, are often the most overlooked and neglected. As well, that actual factory they work in is essentially turning this clay from bits into parts and back again. A cartoonishly redundant and useless goal that can be viewed pretty easily as a critique of all the padded and unnecessary aspects of modern industry. Many times they're being multi-billion-dollar industries that don't add very much value outside of participating in the needlessly convoluted industrial landscape. And after all that workplace trauma, Duck asks a question a lot of people find themselves asking after years of working menial or unfulfilling jobs.
All that stuff that we just did. What was it all for?
The answer? Money. The last critique I see this episode really taking head on is therapy. Not entirely or as a whole, but more so the unhelpful self-help advice types, or confusing exercises, or in general aspects of therapy that don't work to improve the external factors that may be leading to your issues in the first place, like poverty, familial situations, other larger systemic issues, but you have to complete calming exercises to ignore them. Don't get me wrong, sometimes you really do need to work internally, but as Duck says,
I'm not stressed. I'm unemployed.
his issue is that he doesn't have a job, income, not that he needs to learn breathing exercises. In a plot sense, it might seem strange how this all fits in with the last series. What happened to our color swap characters? Well, we do see that the calendar is now on June 20th, which could be a sign that we're following directly after that last episode. But to me, I think it's more a signal that we're into a new story. Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared has never been very straightforward, and I have a feeling that this TV series acts more as a successor than a direct sequel. A way to play with these characters and concepts more without needing the baggage of the web series. That's my interpretation anyway. We open with what is definitely my favorite cold open of the series.
Well, I'm dead.
Yep, he's definitely dead. So after summoning a coffin who explains the next steps, Yellow Guy and Red Guy set up a funeral and a song, which leads to Duck's service.
Hey guys.
You right?
Where the gravestone reads, David? No, that's not Duck's name, it just appears to have been a mistake.
That's his name. He's David.
What? That's supposed to be your name.
What's his name?
What, the stone? It doesn't have a name, it's a stone.
Right, this is very confusing.
Duck is buried into the ground, and Yellow Guy and Red Guy go home, where they're met with strange, grieving characters who they kick out.
Who are they?
We're just friends. Friends of David.
He wasn't called David.
Yellow Guy takes it harder than Red Guy, not quite understanding death.
What do you think happens when we die? Do we ever come back?
Well, I guess nobody really knows. Some people think we go to a new place, like a paradise. Something tells me that when we die, we go into the center of the Earth. Well, it's not quite the center. It's in between the core and the surface. And we must relive our lives, but as a performance for a new super race known as the Council. And every time you get it right, you get a pound.
But what?
Meanwhile, Duck is in with the coffin, who he annoys the shit out of.
Wow, what are you doing? Just keeping track of time.
From here, the two survivors of the group attempt to make a new member from a kit, but Yellow Guy doesn't like any of them, leading to the goop used to make the new character come to life itself. Yellow Guy isn't happy with this change, and Red Guy, as usual, doesn't seem too enthusiastic about much of anything. A song about memories plays as Yellow Guy goes to dig Duck up, and Red Guy begins morphing the goop character into a replica of Duck. Well, now there's two Ducks. While initially they try to make it work, one of the Ducks ends up killing the other. It's worth noting, it's not entirely clear which one was the original. So I really like the way this one tackles its concept. In my view, this episode is mainly about grief, and it has quite a few really touching and understanding moments in its own weird way. Mainly, how life moves on after the death of a loved one, or even just someone who was very present in your life. The realization of the permanence setting in.
Until the other guy comes back.
Yeah. Actually, I don't know if he is going to come back. I think he just sort of stays in the hole.
Huh?
I think he just stays in the hole now.
Isn't that, in a weird way, a very apt statement of that feeling? In another way, these strange grieving characters appearing out of nowhere who don't really seem to know very much about the person, showing up and acting really caring, but really only making things worse and leaving as soon as the performative part is done. I'm sure that's a relatable experience for a lot of people. And then going back to your life afterwards, things that remind you of where they used to be in your life.
Oh, there's a lot of pictures of him. I don't remember as many pictures.
The difficulty of moving on. Alternately, it does take a few cracks at the concept of what death really is.
Great. So what happens now then?
That's it now. It's just this.
Is it? Okay. Great.
Well, obviously not everyone's perspective on death. It is a pretty interesting way of portraying that concept of death being just that. It's nothing. Your body sits in the ground until it's just dirt and bones. And I think it gets this idea across in a unique way by essentially showcasing it as if Duck is still aware, but that's all he can do, sit in the ground. Now, again, plot-wise, we do have one little interesting twist at the end. One of the Ducks is killed, but which is it? You'll notice while the original Duck was the one with the shovel, the one on this side was the replica in the previous shot. So to me, that suggests this new Duck has taken over. Will that affect the oncoming episodes? Not really. Well, kinda. We'll get there when we get there. We open on the group attempting to open a family pack of
Shadow dollops.
which they are unable to do. Two creepy twins appear, telling them they can't open it because they aren't a family, despite Duck insisting that they are.
We are a family, aren't we? I'm the dad, he's the pet, and
You,
you're
the dad.
The Red Guy seems to like the idea of finding his real family. The twins invite them to their house, which feels very Resident Evil 7. Duck seems resistant to the whole thing, and while playing a family board game, is kicked out of their house and transported back to his house. Red Guy's blood is taken to find his family, where he is then transported to, but they don't seem to like him. Red Guy is then snapped back to the house with Duck. Now alone, Yellow Guy's forced to take on the role of the creepy family's mother, so that they can get a family discount on food. Suddenly, Roy appears. While initially it seems like he's here to save his son, he's really just there to eat the entire creepy family, giving Yellow Guy time to escape. Having been rejected by their traditional family, they reaffirm that even though they're not a traditional family, they're happy with what their family looks like, and they're finally able to open the shuttle dollops.
I guess we could share.
This one feels very similar to the Love episode from the original series, and coincidentally, or maybe purposely, is also the third episode in the season. And while it's definitely the most horror-focused of the series, it has a pretty simple message in my eyes. Families don't have to just be the ones you're actually related to. Sometimes the ones who you're related to don't really have your best interest in mind. You shouldn't force yourself to conform to a traditional family if it doesn't work for you. Found family can be just as fulfilling and, depending on your situation, a healthier dynamic. There's this almost folklore around what a complete family should really look like. This idea for it to be real, it needs to be a full set.
Uncles, nephews, grandparents, and even a kind sister.
And that's just not the case for everyone. And guess what? That's okay. In the immortal worlds of Duck.
Sure, we're not technically a family, but we live together and we have the same lawyer, and it worked for us.
On the plot side, really the only important thing to note here is Roy's intervention at the end, but I'm not entirely sure what it means in the wider sense, other than that Roy is still around. Not that we didn't already know that, judging from a few frames in the opening. Right from the start, we see the cracks beginning to show as the episodes go on.
And every day's a new surprise.
When you're learning with us guys.
We live in an actual nightmare.
We start the episode on Computer Day, where the gang gets to use the computer. While Red Guy mans the keyboard and Duck's on the mouse, Yellow Guy's supposed to remember the password, but he forgets, which garners a reaction from the other two.
It's not your fault. You're just
Then this happens.
Okay, stop. Did you see what just happened there? Me too. Now, I'd like you to ask yourself this question. Was that the right way to treat somebody? Or was it actually really hurtful and horrible? Now, let's see how that should have gone. Stupid.
It's not your fault. You're just
How dare you? And how dare you speak to me like that? I refuse to be disrespected ever again. I tried to destroy your reputation. I would like to apologise. I was being a bad friend and I'm ashamed of what I have done.
Is that supposed to be me?
Because you know what? There's nothing wrong with him and there's nothing wrong with me. Have you ever felt like your friend?
Who is that?
That's the real premise of this episode. This strange worm character, Warren, who keeps insisting he's an eagle, trying to teach the gang how to treat their friends with respect. But the gang doesn't really take him as seriously as the other teachers.
You look like a bit of a bigger animal that fell off or was removed and then came to life.
It's actually a
More like an old person's finger.
Reminds me of an infection I had up my
Or was it the voice?
He looks like a tuber. And he stinks.
I know. It's because you've got beady eyes like a rat.
We were just generally unlikable in a way that's hard to pin down.
Eventually, the crew remembers the password and are able to get online.
I like to go on the dark web and look at a picture of a skeleton.
But Yellow Guy's upset again, which leads him to retreating to the world in his mind, where his imaginary friends are nice to him. Duck and Red Guy call on Warren to get him out. However, when Warren enters Yellow Guy's mind, being finally treated nicely by the imaginary friends, he decides to stay. However, Warren's general unlikability ends up driving even Yellow Guy's imaginary friends away.
Today, I'll be talking about how you grow your business using new methods.
What is this?
That's my podcast.
Retreating further into his mind, Yellow Guy is followed by Warren, before Duck and Red Guy poke Warren out of his brain. The episode seems to end on a good note,
The worm in my brain tells me I don't have the body type to pull off wearing denim, but I just tell it to pipe down.
before things go downhill.
You idiot!
Don't say that to me, I'm just reading.
You
Tell me! You're doing it! I'm never gonna see that skeleton!
Here we go.
Honestly, I don't think this episode is that deep. Mostly, it's about fake friends or generally unlikable people feeling owed to your time, and generally awkward social situations. There's also one fun little moment that I feel like connects in some way to the series' switch from YouTube to TV.
I do want people going around saying we're not online.
And this fourth wall break is fun.
Stupid.
Otherwise, we can move on to these last two episodes, which I think is where stuff really starts getting interesting. The first thing to note on this episode is right at the start.
I'm the one who had a dream where there was stuff like there was another me, and everything was not so fun. And I went and saw the other ones, and there was a little lumpy one, and another windy middle one, and there were things that they had around that I knew what they were, but I don't know now. And then it went away. That's 3 of us.
While this initially just sounds like nonsense, just keep it in mind. Now, much like with the web series, Red Guy is beginning to see the pattern that their lives have fallen into.
I want to go somewhere different. I want to get out of this place.
That's not allowed.
I mean, all we do is sit around and then some guy comes and tells us about banks or vegetables or something.
And he wants out, to see what's out there. After a teacher trying to teach the group about transport shuts down in the form of a car, Red Guy revs the thing up and drives them out of the house, where they attempt to head somewhere else. The GPS attempts to direct them back, along with making a little reference to the previous pilot attempt,
Well, I'm sorry, that place doesn't exist anymore.
What happened to it?
Just shriveled up and naked.
but Red Guy's steadfast in his mission. Aside from a few strange occurrences,
I don't like my window. When I look out through it, it looks back in through me.
the trio does seem to be getting quite far, and start dreaming of what it will be like to live somewhere else, perhaps as neighbors. In a daydream Yellow Guy has about this, a narrator shows him through his new town before he's hit by a car and snaps out of it. Before they can get anywhere, the car wakes up, trying to stop them. Just then, the cartoony world around them begins falling apart, revealing the real world. Stranded in a junkyard, the group waits for someone to come find them. And then,
Journeys made, lessons learned. You may feel like you're alone, but no matter how much the wheels turn, the journey always ends up back at home.
just like the web series before it, the commentary on the nature of the format itself is beginning to show, with Red Guy and eventually the others recognizing the strange and looping nature of their reality. And just like before, Red Guy is the one to break it. But there's a lot of questions this episode brings, most notably, what's up with that ending? To really understand it, it's best we move on to the final episode. We start with things back to normal.
It's when you can't remember that over the top of you there's bigger ones that are bigger, and then over the top of it there's a smaller one of all of it at the top of that.
What?
Huh?
That's not going to fit. What's wrong with you?
Duck gets an electric bill, which he says,
Electricity is silly stuff that ought to be free.
you might be forgetting something, friend.
a new teacher appears showing them all the things that are powered by electricity. Yellow Guy then reveals that he is powered by batteries, which have become rusted and decrepit. Duck swaps the teacher's batteries with his, and Yellow Guy suddenly becomes intelligent and aware. After questioning the teachers and the nature of their entire existence, much to the chagrin of the other two,
Also, if you guys had a proper look at this bill, it's nonsense.
What?
Doesn't even say what tariff we're on.
Tariff? Stop showing off. I can make up words too, you know. Watch. Tariff. Damn it.
eventually, he notices a set of stairs he's never seen before. The photos on the wall show him images of the ascending stairs as he ascends them himself. Meanwhile, Red Guy and Duck are fascinated by electricity, overloading the system, sending their house into darkness, where reality seems to fall apart, previous teachers inhabiting a dark, seemingly endless void. Yellow Guy finds a room marked Big Boy's room, where he finds two smarter versions of Red Guy and Duck. However, he quickly realizes the constructed nature of this world as well, and that these two aren't really that much smarter. After a similar situation, another level up, he finally makes it to the third floor, where he meets...
Who are you?
My name's Leslie. It's nice to meet you. You're one of my favorites.
On her piano, we see the dollhouse from the opening of all these episodes. Yellow Guy asks her to explain, to which she says,
You help me tidy things up around here, and I'll help you.
You promise?
Promise.
Yellow Guy and Leslie begin resetting the dollhouse, and it's revealed that Leslie keeps many backups. When they finish, Leslie presents Yellow Guy with a book, with strange symbols lining it. He asks to stay with her, but Leslie replies,
Oh no.
You're not my real son!
Oh, you're joking.
Yellow Guy descends the stairs to show his friends his new discovery, and we see that there's another set of stairs he missed. Going back to the bottom before he can do anything, Duck grabs his batteries and swaps them back, returning power to the house, but returning Yellow Guy to his previous unintelligent self. Seeming to have forgotten what he was going to tell them, Yellow Guy shreds the book in Duck's... And that is the end of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. Honestly, to really dive into all the questions this episode leaves us, we'll need to take a look at the whole season. So let's move on to our wider lens. So the first question I want to cover here is, who is Leslie? It's a pretty short answer, but Leslie is the puppeteer of this world. She was the one narrating at the end of the 5th episode, and in Yellow Guy's flashback, her name appears on the car and other places throughout the series. She's the architect of this whole world. But how does she fit in? Well, that's really the crux of explaining what this whole season has really been about. So let's start with one of the more popular theories that was outlined in, you guessed it, Film Theories video. Let's just hit you with it first. Yellow Guy is dead. Kinda. Here's the concept. Remember the name David? It appears on the tombstone, and at first just seems like a throwaway joke. But if we look closer at Yellow Guy's design, we see the letter D is placed on his overalls. As well, the coffin initially thinks Yellow Guy is the one who's died, and in his daydream in episode 5, Yellow Guy is hit by a car. So Yellow Guy is David, who's actually dead? Well, here's where Leslie comes in. Whose voice do we hear calling out to Yellow Guy in that scene?
Oh, careful.
Leslie's. What does Leslie say to Yellow Guy when they meet?
You're not my real son!
The idea is that this world, this fantasy, was created by Leslie after her son was killed, possibly by her after accidentally hitting him with her car, in an attempt to hold on to her child. She created Yellow Guy and a world for him to live in. And the story goes that to ascend those final steps, Leslie must move on and let go, perhaps letting Yellow Guy, her representation of David, move up into the afterlife. Or at least that's the idea. Okay, so I was initially gonna basically go over what game theory and REM games, ideas about what the book really means, decoding it, and their theories about that. But honestly, I think it would be better to just point you to their video. They do a much better job of explaining it than I could. It was REM games' hard work that even came to decoding this in the first place. So check out REM games or the film theory video, and we're just gonna move on. So then, what's really up with those final set of stairs? Well, think about what the stairs have been shown to represent. Yellow Guy gains this intelligence, this awareness, and much like other characters throughout the series, begins to question the nature of his reality. Up the first set of stairs, it appears that these versions of the characters are smarter. They have the answers. But we see, along with the next set of characters, they're just as much a constructed reality as the bottom floor. Leslie's room then appears to really hold the answers. She's the one behind all of this, and she has the book that will answer all of Yellow Guy's questions. And while this at first seems to be the true answer, we're just left with more questions. And we see there's another set of stairs. The stairs represent the characters searching for the truth, becoming more aware, more intelligent, and understanding the nature of your reality. But what is the real nature of these characters' reality? The truth is, they're not real. They're puppets. They're a television show. Throughout both the web series and this TV series, the fourth wall is constantly broken. The characters are constantly getting glimpses of the fact that they're not real and are shown the production that they exist in. To me, the final set of stairs is the real truth. It would lead to Sloane and Pelling and the whole crew of the show. It would lead to the real world. But of course, Yellow Guy can never get there because he's not real. When the camera stops rolling, he stops moving. He's just a character. Those are my thoughts. Okay, so now that we've basically covered both, I just want to end off with a quick discussion about both series combined, really what they're saying, common themes, things like that. Like I mentioned earlier, I think it's best to look at these two seasons as separate. When it comes to the original, oddly enough, I think despite its surreal and more unorthodox nature, it was more focused on its plot. After the first episode, we had these through lines that hit in every episode. The progression of Red Guy's suspicion and understanding, the ever-looming presence of Roy. And while different interpretations of the series come to different conclusions about what that plot really is, it does focus on these strong elements. This mastermind, Roy, controlling the lives of these characters as the world becomes more and more unhinged. And Red Guy's path to understanding this control and eventually breaking the cycle, or breaking out of his own anxiety about growing up, whatever theory you subscribe to. And in another way, whether you see it as a cult-like family or Roy's torment of his son, the series was about a family's journey. For the TV season, the focus is a lot less on this overarching plot, only really coming together in the last two episodes. Instead, the individual plots are used in an entirely different but interesting way. See, in the original series, we didn't get to see a lot of the main characters. They didn't have a lot of personality or even dialogue. Things just sort of happened to them. In this series, we see Sloane and Pelling use it as a way to explore these characters as, well, characters. They have opportunities to interact with each other, have conflicts, flesh out their personality, something they have the unique ability to do in this longer format. And for most of the series, the plot lines they use are utilized to express totally unique ideas in each episode, biting critiques or satirizations on culture and the common experiences of people. Both ways of using their plots are really interesting, but I do think there's a distinct difference between the web series and the TV show. But thematically, both seasons end up covering a lot of similar ground. First, and you've heard me talk about this a lot already, this series loves breaking the fourth wall, but it uses that concept in such an interesting way. It's not just a way to wink at the camera. It's utilized to do so many things with the story, from allowing the characters to get a peek at their own reality, to representing existential thoughts, to being embedded in the plot of the show itself. The meta element and acknowledgement of the show's own being is a defining aspect of how Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared tells its story. In a similar sense, in that it's a comment on the nature of itself, the show loves playing on the loop, commenting on or utilizing the fact that shows, including itself, have formats and formulas, things that repeat, and it can play with these to create a twist or showcase the parts that are changing, like showing how the show is slowly deteriorating, or be fully literal and have the characters in the show begin to question their own reality, which loops back around to the concept of meta-awareness. Finally, as most people have pointed out, the show is really into talking about media, not just as a final product, but what it's like making it. From critiques and satire around commercialization of media and battle for creative control, to discussions of simplification in children's educational material, to the internet and the constant collection of information, to how media can reinforce harmful or limiting views of personhood and relationships, the show is a constant commentary and insight into both the world of making media and consuming it. Even from the very beginning, the very first episode, we've been talking about not only how media affects us, but the nature of being someone who creates.
What's your favorite idea? Mine is being creative.
Alright, so those are my thoughts on Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. Thank you all for watching. Seriously, go check out Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, both the TV series and the original YouTube series. Aside from just being creepy and surreal, they're actually really funny and entertaining. And it's really cool seeing yet more people who sort of started doing YouTube stuff getting larger attention in more traditional media. Thank you to the patrons. To be honest, when I'm filming this, I'm not exactly sure what the state of all the music of this is going to be, so maybe it'll be up on my SoundCloud or maybe it'll be up on Spotify. I don't really know, but the links will be there, and the pinned comment will probably say something about it. And hey, if you want to support me and you like this sort of content and you would like to see exclusive reviews and early access and behind the scenes and an exclusive series of devlogs that chronicle me working on different games, then you can check out my Patreon. It's just $5 a month. If not, I'll see you all next time.
When you make a video essay, there's a few things to do. You have to have a message about a big societal issue, like depression, trauma, or late-stage capitalism. When you make a video essay, there's a few things to do. Make sure the title and thumbnail will get a lot of views. Videos, they are fun. You should watch everyone. Analysis is fun to do. Sit your ass down and watch some YouTube. If you don't quite know, I'll give you a clue.
Oh man, if I find the bears, it's like best. Oh wait, what? What? Music Man! Wait, where's Music Man? Music Man! Hey guys, welcome to GT Live. Today we're playing FNAF, but before we play FNAF, I'm putting together this Polnetic Omni tool? Not 100% sure. It's a magnetically hashtag not sponsored. It's a magnetically put together like a Swiss Army knife of sorts. But I'm kind of confused. So like the bits magnetically stick together. It's actually really cool. It's a good solid magnet. But then they give you this bead, and they're like, oh, here's the bead, and you put the paracord through the bead, which does not appear to be magnetic. And then do I just thread it through here again? But then I'm just tying this bunch of magnetically stuck together. This doesn't make sense to me, Ash. I've solved FNAF 500 times, but putting together this like 4-piece magnetic puzzle is not doing me a whole lot.
You think those skills would be transferable?
You would think that like, oh, you solved FNAF, now tie a cord around a magnetic Swiss Army knife. Yeah, I mean, it's seamless, right?
Right, of course.
100%. Anyway, you know, I'm actually a decently handy person around the house, so I'm like, oh, this seems like a cool thing. But now I'm just like, it feels like the bead should magnetically adhere in some way, and the bead is not magnetically adhering. Anyway, I will deal with this later. My little peccadillo, this is what I do while we're getting set up and doing mic check. So what are small things in my day-to-day life that I have to check off the list? There it is. Anyway, hey, hi friends. Today is going to be a much simpler task than, you know, putting together an Omni tool. Today our task is simple. It is to finish Cleanup Crew. Finish our cleanup of Five Nights at Freddy's glitch attraction, whatever this world is. So, in case you missed it, we played part 1 of a Five Nights at Freddy's Cleanup Crew employee assessment teaser. So, this is actually a pretty meaty, large-sized teaser, what appears to be an upcoming game. It's called Cleanup Crew. It was one part personality assessment, where you were just asking us a bunch of questions, and we were talking philosophically about, you know, who's the most trustworthy animatronic, and do you love your mother or father more? You know, your typical gameplay for a Five Nights at Freddy's experience. Interspersed with survived events. Don't get caught by the animatronics while wandering through the hallway. You know, typical FNAF-y things that you would expect. When last we left off, we had collected a whole lot of little teddy bear plushies. We had escaped Freddy and a Chica and all of them, and it seemed like we were on our way out, but then surprise, surprise, there was a lot more game to be had. So that's where we're at today. Ash, you were looking at me as though you had something to say about adjusting my microphone or playing the game or something that was going to blow everyone's mind with the level of wit and humor that was going to be contained in it. It's one of those three. What was it?
Well, I'm just kind of amazed with the way that color is behaving today.
Yes. Color be that way.
It do. You heard me. I was like looking around the room and I was like, it feels more yellow in here today.
That is what you're saying.
And then you looked at me and you did that thing where like you squint, you tilt your head slightly to the side like you're thinking about it, but then you just go, interesting.
Yeah.
And then
I just, you know, listing it down on Ash is like, should I be concerned at any point? All right, is this going to one day culminate into a diagnosis? Do I need to watch out for this? No, I mean, here's the thing. Last night we had to move, Steph and I, at 1 in the morning, had to shift around some lights for secret things that we were requested to do.
Yep.
Which maybe at some point I will be able to reveal. At some, who knows? It'll be cringy and we can all laugh and react to it at some point. But yeah, it was one of those things where we were asked to move the lights around, so maybe the reflectiveness of the lights or the positioning of these two lights specifically that got moved is reflecting in strange ways and into your eyeballs.
Maybe.
Or maybe your brain is slowly melting through your ears. It's got to be one of the two.
Yeah.
That's it. Those are the only options.
Yeah. I fear that my brain is slowly melting into my ears.
See, this is why I'm taking notes.
Yeah.
So that way I know. And next thing on the checklist is there any mysterious ooze coming out of Ash's ears? In which case, then that's a strong indicator.
Maybe it's not ooze. Maybe it'll be something that surprises all of us.
That's why I got to take notes about this, because then you might forget.
Oh,
you need a pattern of behavior.
I hope it's slime.
Oh man, if it's slime, I'm gonna video record it and monetize the heck out of it, because you know those slime videos, man, they pop off.
You know what? I hope that's my legacy. Please.
Ash's brain slime?
Yeah.
And now you can make your own Ash's brain slime. All you need is a bottle of glue and some borax. No, actual ashes of ash. All right, clean up, crew. We need to clean up.
Yeah.
Let's clean up.
All
Load from the checkpoint. So last time I didn't think. Okay, look at how much we did. Look at all this. Welcome, events, waking up, generators. We did like all this. Look at all these teddy bears we got. Did amazing. So now we're on confrontation. Ooh, it seems like we're gonna meet baby in a sinister way. So here we go. Let's meet and greet baby. I should probably release a FNAF timeline at some point, shouldn't I?
Yeah, I think that'd be fun.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I have most of it. Here's the true story of the FNAF timeline, because a lot of people ask me about this. I have most of it. The problem is, one, it's gonna be an hour long, and it's taking us a long time to edit. Two, we're working on the new channel, and so whenever we launch a new channel, there's like 5 or 6 new videos that we launch out at the same time. So in addition to, hey, here's an hour-long FNAF timeline, here is an additional like 6 videos that are working on in the background, in addition to everything that we're doing, and the shorts now. So it's a lot of that. But then lastly, it seems like every other week there's a new FNAF book coming out, and usually at this point, like the Pizza Plex ones and this and that, that's fine. But the one that I'm concerned about, and that a lot of people have been starting to screen share me, like little leaked pages as if leaks are a thing, is the character encyclopedia, which on one hand people are like, this is full of misinformation, which isn't all that surprising for the FNAF books in a lot of cases. Quality control has been kind of iffy on some of them. But second, so I don't know if it's misinformation, I don't know if it's corrected information or like this is accurate. Anyway, apparently this thing is massive. I've seen the photos of it, and there's everything from like the crying child and like there's a ton of information in this thing. And so on one hand, I'm like, if I release this, that book comes out literally like a week or 2 from now, and all of a sudden, like your timeline that you spent like the last 2 or 3 months working on is like validated. And so I don't want that. So I'm holding on a little bit. It's done-ish. It's editing. But yeah. Anyway, that's the long and short of that one, in case everyone was wondering, because I get a lot of questions about it. Because I know I said like, no, it's next week, and it is not. It has decidedly not been next week.
Yeah, I saw some of those pages on Twitter, and I was like, oh, poor Matt.
Oh,
poor Matt.
I don't actually know how long it is, but it seems like it's gonna be incredibly long, because it seems like each character gets 2 pages dedicated to themselves, and it seems like they're covering like even really obscure characters. So I don't know, man. And when I say obscure characters, I mean like some of the AR skins and stuff. So I don't know. I am concerned about it for a couple reasons. I think because I'm just afraid that it's going to make the lore even messier than it historically is, you know. And again, it'll open up the door of like, what is true? Is this misinformation? Is this a misprint? You know, the nice thing about the Freddy Files kind of like final mix, if you will, I guess if you'll take a page out of Kingdom Hearts, the nice thing about that one is that one, after 2 iterations beforehand, where they kind of got the kinks out, they were figuring out a lot of stuff. They were kind of, you know, the community kind of was like policing a lot of like misinformation and things like that.
Yeah.
The final version of that book is like, oh, you can like look at that and say like, oh, this is pretty good. And it seems like it had more of Scott's oversight for it. It feels like they've corrected a lot of all the, you know, the stuff that the community was giving a hard time about, all this stuff. Whereas this guy, I don't know, man. I don't know what this is gonna be. It is gonna be a wild ride, but already you can see people getting pretty hyped about it, because it's like, oh man, look at all these deep details that are coming out. So we shall see.
the character art in them I find very interesting
Yes.
too.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen any of the pages out of this. I mean, they're all over the Game Theory subreddit. So if you have not checked out the Game Theory subreddit, you should do that. Because one, it's an awesome community. We're in the top 1% of subreddits, which is cool. But also, so I'm assuming I have to find all the teddy bears in order to open this. Oh, that's tempting. Oh, I don't want to do that. That's a lot of gameplay that'll end up on the cutting room floor. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh, but I don't know if you've seen it. Go to the subreddit. There's a lot of pages, leaked pages that have been coming out. But yeah, the art style for all the like FNAF adjacent projects, the books, the graphic novels, things like that, has been like all over the map. Some of the art is great, and then you get to some other art pieces where you're like, what is going on?
What is going on?
Like some of the graphic, and I say that not so much as in like, oh, the art is bad. It's just such a vastly different styles within the same product. You know, so the graphic novels, for instance, they've been re-releasing the not Tales from the Pizza the Fazbear Frights in like mini collections of random stories. Like 3 stories, not from like the same 3 stories from the same book. It's like we pulled 3 stories from 3 separate random Fazbear Frights books, and then we illustrated them. And some of them are ones that are like, oh, this felt lore important, and other ones are like, oh, that was just like a random one-off. Why did you choose that one? But the art styles, even within these like graphic novel adaptations, range from like, oh, this is kind of similar to vents every time. Spooky vents. Okay, you got me, game. But anyway, it ranges from, oh, this is kind of like naturalistic. This looks kind of like the art style of other illustrated things that the series has released thus far. To it looks like it was animated or illustrated on while you're in like a centrifuge. Like wow, and the art style is all like hyper stylized and elongated, and it's cool. But it also doesn't match anything else that has come out before. And you're like, wait, this plush. One of them is the plush trap chaser one, and you have the difference between like this is plush trap and he looks like what you expect plush trap to look like from games, and the other one is like wow, look at him like skewed to the gods, and his eyes are like bleeding out everywhere. And you're like what happened? It's definitely an artistic interpretation, and it's cool. But again, it's one of those things where in a series where people are like coming over every element. You're like, wait, what is this? The consistency is all over the map, right? And that's also how you got elements like as she was called in the early days, Eleanor in the books, the kind of book stand-in for Elizabeth. Everyone called her Giraffe Baby because it was very clearly like a model or a riffing on Baby's design, but her neck is like enormous, and you're like, oh, Giraffe Baby. Pick up Fazbear. Was like a Game Boy. Oh wait, E for equipment, maybe. Find a way out. Okay, ooh, hacker. Oh hello, cool. I like hacking with the use of my Game Boy.
That's pretty sick.
Right, if only hacking were this easy. Oh hello. Oh buddy, hack it. It's like watch _ dogs. Wait, did that hack it? Wait, did that hack it? Okay, yes, achievement unlocked. That's what you do it in real life, just hacking. You just point at it and it does a thing. Now, to be fair, having done multiple videos with real-life hackers, they do say it's easier than you would expect, or at least like some of it is easier than you expect. They're like, oh yeah, Google is like your best friend. Go figure, because you can Google a lot like default passwords, because no one ever like changes the passwords or whatever. But yeah, there's an actual like programmatic element when we get into like now that people are starting to be better about cybersecurity. It's like okay, gotta actually work for it. Any bears? Let's see any bears. Duh, bears.
Bad news bears or good news bears?
Oh man, if I find the bears, it's like best news. Oh wait, what? Music Man? Wait, where's Music Man? Music Man! Oh, this unexpected. Oh wow, this game just jumped from like 0 to 100. It wasn't at 0, let me be clear. But the fact that we went to DJ Music Man, oh buddy, Music Man! Oh, I've missed him in my life.
I know you'd appreciate that.
Oh, you know what I don't appreciate? Starting from this point, I kind of blows. But it's a Music Man. He's a what? He's a Music Man. Oh man, if anyone is in musical theater and gets cast in a production of Music Man, make sure you share it on the Game Theory subreddit, because that would make me so happy.
I think at the end, like right before curtain call, like at the end of the last number, they should just do the Music Man. Like
everyone in the cast, as they're doing their final bows. Like everyone does their final bow. Everyone's like, thank you so much, parents, for coming. Appreciate you tuning in. And then all of a sudden, everyone, the music dies, and the audience kind of like the applause dies down, and all of them go in one collective, unified voice, Music Man. Oh, happy glorious.
It's like right after the like good night, my someone.
Good night, my someone. Good night, my love. Music Man.
It's everyone.
That'd be awesome. Just from off stage.
Yes.
It's great. Okay. I love that so much. Okay, so I'm assuming Music Man came from behind me in this moment. So part of me wants to actually like watch him go because it's Music Man. He's the best. Was he behind me the whole time? Because I didn't see him. Okay. Here. I'm assuming he's coming from this way. So I'm gonna run backwards really fast. Work on my quadriceps and hamstrings.
You're like a little campus tour guide.
Right. I'm like, all right, follow me. The umbrella's coming this way. If you don't see the umbrella, you have gotten off track and you've accidentally wound up in a fraternity. Oh, whoa! Oh my gosh! Look at him! I love just him decimating all these pillars. Yeah! You go, Music Man! Oh, this is amazing. Look at him! Oh, no mercy, Music Man. Oh wait, there's a vent. I probably should have gone through that vent, huh? And now it's very dark. And I'm dead. Okay. But you know what? It was worth it, because I got to spend that glorious time with Music Man. Good old MM. See, they misled me this whole time. I'm like, oh, confrontation with Baby. No, confrontation with Music Man. You say confrontation, I say joyous meeting. Reunited, and it feels so good. Oh, we got trouble. Right here, University. With a capital M that rhymes with M, which stands for Music Man. Oh, we got trouble. Right here, University. I love it.
Yeah. It's great.
Honestly, musicals could use a little bit of a modernization. They could be hip, a little bit hipper with the memes and what's going on. I would love to see a slightly rewritten version of the Music Man, where instead of the trouble that came to River City being pool, the game of pool or billiards, which is the plot of Music Man, if instead it was a giant animatronic DJ.
What's
Rogers and Hammerstein roll over in their grave. I don't think they didn't do Music Man. I can't think of that.
I hope that Meredith Wilson doesn't mind.
Oh, is it Meredith Wilson?
Meredith Wilson doesn't mind what we've done.
That's it.
With his production.
Oh man, that would be amazing. Oh, you got trouble. When giant spider creature comes crawling to your town, he's a crawling. Oh, he's a crawling to your town. You best be running. Oh, you best be running, my friends. All your kids in them animatronic Fazbear restaurants.
Did you hear where the new pizzeria opened?
Yeah.
Gary, Indiana, Gary.
hurricane, Utah hurricane, Utah hurricane, Utah, let me say it once again. Oh, buddy, this is a win. Yes, I agree. Let's run. It seems like I run faster when I'm backwards. I feel much slower running forward. I'm just saying. Okay, here comes my vent. I don't think I can do this. Can I make this? I don't have that much leeway time. Okay, here it is. Okay, got him. Yeah, I'm sorry, Music Man. We had to part ways. Oh, he just stunned into the wall. Can I open this? I cannot. Okay, I was gonna be like, can I peek at him? That'd be amazing. Can his giant hand reach through and chase after me? That'd be awesome. So we survived Music Man. That was a win. Although to be fair, dying to Music Man is almost more of a win because you get to spend that much more time with him. Oh my gosh, this is such a large room for small teddy bears to be hidden. Oh jeez, is he coming back? Wait, he's coming back. Oh my god, he's back! Woo! He doesn't quit. I love it. Oh, just when you thought you had enough, Music Man, back more. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Yes, Music Man. Oh, I want to look at him crash into the wall.
Man.
Do be like that. Yeah. Might be frozen.
Oh no.
No!
Well, we know the solution now.
Do we?
Right, what didn't you just like go to a menu and like go there, X out, and then you were able to move again?
Yeah, that's what happened last time.
You looked at the bears, or like, no, it was something.
There
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
Yep, you got it. Right, that was on. Okay, well, we're locked out of there. Woo! Amazing. I love it. Right? With a capital M and another M, and that stands for Music Man!
Till There Was You comes on, and it's just like you dancing, but it's like also trying not to get killed.
Well, it's Till There Was You, but it's singing to Freddy Fazbear.
Oh, wow.
There was hunger all around, but I never heard you singing. No, I never heard it at all. Till there was you, Freddy Fazbear. Okay, hey. Oh, wait! Wait, we're back. Hi, hello. Hello. We're back here in the assessment room. Oh, that was quite a long trip. Hey there. Oh, hello, yes. Ah! Open. Lies. Door of lies. You can't open that door. Hex door. This feels like we've done it before. Deja vu. All right, let's do it again, I guess. Is it gonna change? Here, update my journal. Haven't I already done this? Yeah. Dear diary. Haven't I already done this? That's all. No further questions. No other notes. We're all good. I am on the scanner, yes. Hello. Are you scanning? You're scanning? Don't scan. I'm here. Oh, hello. Oh, yes, thank you. Oh, verify your identity before the assessment begins. Gender, male, birth, month, November, birth year, 86, height, 5'10". Yep. Okay, great.
Thank you for scanning. We are looking at your scan now.
Yeah, it's a good scan. It's a quality scan. Good. Great.
We have also noted that you may need company provided therapy due to approximately 67.2% insecurity being detected.
Yeah, it's more than that.
Terms and conditions apply.
Yeah, we do this again? Do I have to like mimic my answers? Does that have to be one and the same? I forget. It's been a long week since we last played this. Okay. Oh, you update my journal. Do the employee assessment. Okay, thanks, journal. Dear diary. Do the assessment. Okay. Okay, have you been here before? Yes. Technically no, because this is the hex door assessment, which I feel like was not the name of the first assessment. Just saying. But you know what, I'm gonna say fourth yes. They don't expect you to say the fourth yes. Ooh. Hello. Oh, hey. Let's close this door. There you go. Really want me in this elevator, don't you? Ooh, but this one's open. I guess you really don't. On one hand, it seems like you want me in this elevator, but apparently not in that elevator. Okay. Right, we're still on floor -42, which was not where we started the game, just saying. So, we've done it before, but technically not. You pay attention to the details. Oh my god, speaking of paying attention to the details, one of my favorite video game moments of all time when I was a kid was in the game Illusion of Gaia, one of my top SNES games of all time. There's this moment where you have to do... Oh, here comes baby. Here comes baby. Oh, no. Oh, plus trap. Hey, I was talking about you, bud. Hey. Oh, this is fun. Gotta listen for his scampering. I'm not hearing his scampering. Oh, see? Gotta wait for the foot. That's how you advance the night. Trust me, I've done this in FNAF 4. Yeah, you got it! Nice, nailed him! We're totally gonna start forward an hour on the next night with FNAF 4, which is a weird perk in that game, by the way. Just very strange. We're doing very good. Don't turn off the lights, just keep the lights on. Oh. He's actually back. He's behind me, isn't he? Oh, he'd be above me, that'd be amazing. Okay, that's fine. That did jump scare me, but I think it would have been awesome if he didn't show up. And you're like, wait, what's going on? And then you look around, and he's like either behind you or on the ceiling. That would be legit. Nope, okay. Ah, we've been teleported into a forest, apparently. Cool. This is where we first...
Can you hear me?
Baby? It's gonna be like this is where we meet Monty. Ah! One day I'll be a famous bass guitarist! Oh, hello. Oh, I can't hear you. Sorry, I was waiting for more to happen. Didn't realize I was supposed to look around. Here we go.
I can see you.
Great, that makes one of us. How do I get into the jungle? This is the newest expansion pack. Cool. Watch out for the down! Stupid trees in the dark.
Where have you been all this time?
You know, I was taking a personality test earlier. It was
You missed a lot, baby. There was like, we were talking about like determinism.
Yeah, we got deep, man. We were talking duality of particles. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Not who I thought you were.
No. We were singing Music Man.
Yeah.
Hanging with my bud. Music Man is great. No comment.
No comment. Like, I have to process that.
Yeah, I really have to think about these answers.
Why are you here?
Great questions all around. You know, some days you just wake up and you're thrown into a Myers-Briggs personality test. This is... Oh.
Want to be left alone?
Trust me, I'm not trying to help.
Yeah, we respect your boundaries, man. We just don't know how to leave.
Yeah, right, I'm just trying to find my way by following these spotlights. Feel free to ignore me.
Like, we would love to leave you alone.
Yeah, I have no problems leaving you alone, please.
You won't be happy with me.
I really don't. Like I said, I do not... Oh, when you see what I become. You know what? I do not care. Again, like, you do you.
Please, go away.
I would love to, I am in pitch blackness and cannot equip my flashlight.
You know how like in movie theaters they have like the exit signs above the doors?
Yeah.
That's kind of what we're looking for.
Right. Okay, well, you know, I kind of gotta go this way, baby. I'm sorry. Ooh, hey, teddy bear. Yeah.
Woo!
Wait, wait, teddy bear, teddy bear. No, Gabe.
No.
Oh, no. Apparently, I walked slightly out of the ring. Oh no. Oh, now it's so dark. Let me. Oh wait, there's. Okay, can I pick you up? I cannot. Has the house disappeared? Seems like the house that was next to the bear. Oh.
Can we get the bear though?
Yeah, but the bear, please. Well,
Is this a metaphor, baby?
okay, ma'am, I do not care about you, but if you can help me pick up this bear, it's right here. I want to move, but I can't because I'm afraid that it's very dark back here, ma'am. And I need this bear. Can you help me lift it? Because apparently I cannot. I'm so sorry to disturb you, ma'am. Oh,
We're going to have so much fun together.
I thought you didn't want me here. Got a jam. You got a jam there, baby. I like that model. It's a good model.
You'll soon understand.
Great. And then the character encyclopedia will completely throw all of that away. Spoiler alert. You'll soon understand. And then the character encyclopedia will just take that and put it through a shredder.
Follow the music.
The music, man. Okay. Name that silhouette. Wait. I thought maybe I was gonna be freaked
It's
out.
Pikachu.
Who's that animatronic? Oh, okay. Oh man, I thought we were warming up for something. Uncover the mystery. Keep the door shut.com. Nice. Wait. So speaking of keeping doors shut, or opening doors, actually, I want to see what happens with the teddy bear door.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Thanks so much for playing 5 Minutes Freddy's Cleanup Crew. This was a short play, but it was actually pretty sizable. I'm actually impressed with the size of it. I hope we give you a preview into the gameplay and world. It's a first-person stealth horror game based on the 5 Minutes Freddy's franchise. So you takes a heavy approach to stealth and strategy with sneaking around and avoiding threats. Still in development, it will feature an original story mode as well as survival mode. We take on up to 20 animatronics, all in a versus format. Can we do the Super Smash Brothers
Look,
melee?
special things, Matthew Patrick.
Hey, let me.
It's you.
Let me, Bo Burnham.
Oh, good.
Sure, great, Bo Burnham. He loves his 5 Minutes Freddy's FNAF fan games.
I'm sure
Fun
he's
fact
going to
about
plays it.
Yeah, it's true. Free DLC, post-launch, including master bot. There's a whole timeline on this one. Still very early in development and many changes before final release. Okay, thank you for genuine. That's what you think. Okay, so I want to see what's behind the bear door.
Good.
So I'm assuming that someone must have done this online, right? Because if I were to do it, we still have 10 left. That's a lot. And plus that one was glitched, which I worry about. So I think what we do.
Unless it was a trap.
It's a trap. Okay, FNAF Cleanup Crew teddy door. Nice, perfect. One of the best FNAF fan games. That was really solid. FNAF Cleanup Crew is a blessing to fan games. I mean, I like it a lot. I think there's a lot of good ideas here. It's really cool. I'm curious what they're going to do with it and where it's going to go from here. Clearly, we were super on this trend 7 months ago. Great. Good for us.
Good for us.
Good for us. FNAF Cleanup Crew employee assessment teaser secret ending. Indie, 12 subscribers, thank you. 6 months ago, there's a secret ending that you can find by collecting all 30 Eddie Bears. They'll probably make a video showing where to find them all. Yep, I think that is a great content strategy. Here we go. So this is the Cleanup Crew employee assessment teaser secret ending. What do we got? Nope. Still a bunch of hallway. I like that they reuse this hallway so many times. Like the hallway with all the doors that you can't open over and over again. Nope, nothing. I know. Nope, you can't open it quietly. You can't open it. Yep, okay. Really thought that one was possible, but no, not so much. I think that's gonna be our bet. You got try the last one. Try the last. Don't skip it. No. Yes, thank you. You tried every other one. Oh, was that showing that we're underground? Is that trash? What was that? Was that like a big pile of rubble, rock? It's almost like memory looping and stuff. Okay, here we go. What do we got going on? Yep, try the door. Yeah, try that door. Yep. You know, I'm having a big realization here that apparently I guess I didn't realize it when I was playing, but that opening the door and opening the door quietly were 2 separate commands that I could have done. Ooh, no, got there. Is that baby? It's like no, go, no, don't leave, no, straight right there.
It's like actually, I'm good.
Yeah, no, go with.
You said you wanted to be left alone.
Right, I feel it. Oh, wait. Oh, was the teddy bear there before? A bonus bear. Ooh, hello. Oh. Oh, hello. Grab the bear. Grab the bear, man. Oh, man. No, oh! Oh, you'll soon understand what happened. Ooh. Oh, oh okay. Got some blood spatter on the walls there, huh? And just sneak away. Ooh, can we keep going up? Oh, is there more?
Slash baby.
Slash baby. So in the movie, there's this new character named Abby.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Abby and Baby might be connected in some way?
If you switch the 2 first letters. Wow.
Ooh! Abby and Baby?
What?
But hey! It's just over a decade of saying the line, it just slowly evolves into more and more gobbledygook. Yeah! There you go. So that's the secret ending, I guess. Let's see. I'm assuming that's probably it, right? Now we go through the vents. Then we're gonna do. Oh, she keeps coming. Just keeps coming. Don't stop. Then she don't stop coming. Hey! Oh. Follow the music. There you go. All right, follow the music. You heard the lady. You heard the baby. follow the music. This is cool. That was cool. Thank you, Indy, for helping us find all the secret bears and speedrun that a little bit. Because otherwise, if left to my own devices, it would have been a hot mess that would have ultimately wound up doing no one any favors. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is FNAF Cleanup Crew. A lot of interesting stuff there. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm really curious to see where they go with this game. The idea of fusing FNAF with a personality assessment I think is really cool. The different experiences I thought were really polished and really well done between the stealthing through the hallways to avoid animatronics and find the switches. The beginning section with events I thought was really well done with the hearing the audio and having to navigate accordingly. You know, the stuff with Music Man, I think like anytime there's Music Man, you automatically get like 2 bonus points, so like right there. So yeah, across the board, really excited to see what else is in store for this one. I think it's really, really cool. And all that being said, I guess now I gotta just wait until the character encyclopedia comes out in like 2 days or whatever, and then I have the next week to read that and try to adjust my timeline accordingly or not. I don't know. I gotta figure out what the deal is with this book. So there's the FNAF movie, Abby equals baby. I don't know, theories. There's the FNAF character encyclopedia. There's been like I think like 2 Tales from the Peace I've gotten over the holiday. I'm like, I've been working on the timeline. Like, do I have to read a FNAF book too? So I gotta catch up on I think like 1 or 2 Tales from the Peace books. I'm slipping, man. I'm slipping hard. Ash, I can't be slipping, Jimmy. I gotta get on it. I gotta follow that music.
Follow that music.
Running up that hill. You know? So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to the cleanup crew, actually, the people who made this game, for bringing my attention to it. I know that they kind of did a lot to, like, hey, not bad, you should check out our game. I did. I enjoyed it. It was really fun. A couple small tweaks here and there, but I'm excited to see what you have in store. So thank you guys for watching. Thank them for creating this game. And as always, remember, it wasn't a live stream, but it was a video. A video for you. See ya! Netflix stealth. Hey. He's not a good patrolman.
Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, or Mabad Khushu Ajkal, because you know what? I have been having a good time making content, tons of fun stuff to cover. But when it comes to video games, I'm already happy starting off the year with the Dead Space remake. Now I know before people go in, wow, is this what gaming has come to? Getting excited for a remake? Modern AAA gaming is dead! Look, we can all be negative, but sometimes it's time to put on a happy face and just realize maybe sometimes things are good, right? Now, of course, I totally agree. There are a lot of modern games that leave me a little sad, all right? Just sad. But Dead Space Remake is one that I can actually really enjoy. And again, I know it's a game from 2008, but I want to start off with just definitions, okay? Here at Some Ordinary Gamers, we have a little bit of an educational educational program too. So let's talk about remakes versus remasters real quick. Look, I'm not too excited about remasters. Anytime a game company says, hey guys, here's the remaster of a Shin Megami Tensei 3, anytime I can take your game, jack up its resolution myself, double up the frame rate myself, which that game didn't do, then I don't really care, okay? I'm a PC gamer, so I'm used to just going into the system settings, going into the graphical options, and doing that myself. Oh, but sometimes we touched up a texture or two with AI. Yeah, could care less. Now, when it comes to remakes are typically our developers reattempt at an entire game that they made. Look, no matter what happens, every time a game gets made, there's always some limitation of hardware that prevents a developer from actually seeing their dream completely through. Now, back in the original PlayStation 1 days, Resident Evil 2 absolutely blew our minds. We loved it. It's probably